Happy Memorial Day. This is Steven Nelson with OEFC West, and I'm joined by Gabriel Da Silva, one of our coaches and just recently announced director of futsal at OEFC West. We're doing episode 6 of the podcast, but part 5 of our person behind the coach, where we do an in-depth interview of the coach and try to learn a little bit more about their lives and what drew them to soccer and a little bit of history to help make sure that our players, get to know the person behind the coach. Gabby, good to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you, guys. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Excited about from the things that the club is going, the direction the club is going, and the announcement that Stephen just did about the futsal program that we're about to open. It's gonna bring a lot of good things for the club, a lot of good things for the improvement on skills part of the soccer. So looking forward to this new part of my career as a coach and from the club situation, the way we're going.
That's awesome. And speaking of your career as a coach, love to understand. One, your name, Gabriel Da Silva. Obviously, you're not from America. Where are you from, and how did you get started in the game?
So I am originally from Santos. It's in São Paulo, Brazil. It's 800,000 people town. I started soccer really young. I got passionate really fast, and that's where I come from. That's where I started the soccer.
And if I'm not mistaken, Santos is a fairly famous Brazilian club side, is it not?
Yes, that's one of the biggest or one of the most successful soccer academy in Brazil. They build talent players like Pelé, that's one of the most famous. Robinho recently played for Brazilian national team, played for Real Madrid, and the latest one is Neymar, that now played for Paris Saint-Germain, played for Barcelona. So, yeah, the Santos Development Academy, it's amazing. I got a lot of experience down there, and I try to take that advantage that I got there and the people that I met there to introduce to our club and our mentality, our philosophy.
That's awesome. So, so obviously, I was maybe a little underplaying a little bit, but it. Would you say that it's the best club in Brazil, or no?
As a professional team, we are one of the best top 10 clubs in Brazil. Right now, we are not, in my opinion, we're not the best club in Brazil. But in terms of like championships, the history, mm-hmm. Yeah, we probably top 2 or top 3, in the country. Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't had a chance to interview them, but who do the Neri brothers support?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Who does Peterson and Gleitson? Who do they support?
Oh, I know Peterson supports Flamengo. That's the biggest like fans in the mm-hmm. country. Yeah, and Gleitson fans São Paulo Football Club, which is one of the biggest rival with Santos FC.
So how did and I guess I should save it for when I interview Peterson or Gleitson, but I was about to say how is it that that two brothers ended up supporting two rival clubs? Are they same? Are they close in close proximity, or?
No, actually, Flamengo is from Rio de Janeiro, and mm-hmm. São Paulo, it's from São Paulo states. But I believe Peterson was because of his dad. Mm-hmm. His dad is a Flamengo fan, and Gleitson, his uncle, loves São Paulo, and he spent too much time with his uncle, and he chose to cheer from São Paulo. That's what I believe. what
Okay.
the team.
Well, I'll be sure and ask him. But obviously, with that being said, you've spoken a lot about Santos. Are you a Santos fan, or did you support another club growing up?
Definitely, for sure. I'm 100% Santos fan. I grew up in the academy, and that's the closest big team uh, from where I'm from. So, yeah, always been and never change.
Awesome. So, and it's almost cliche to ask you, but I'll go ahead and ask you since we've asked some of the other coaches. When did you fall in love with the game, or is that a silly question to ask a Brazilian?
So, like, I always liked the game, since I was little. But when I fall in love in the game was when I met one of the guy that really helped me grow as a soccer player and grow me on the soccer. His name is Clayton Lima. He's a very famous soccer coach. He coached Brazilian national team, women's national team, in Olympics, in a World Cup, and he was one of my youngest coach when I was probably around 11 years old,
Okay.
and I was playing futsal on his academy, and I was playing, and he just once he looked at me, the passion that I have, that because they were losing the scrimmage against the older group, and he came to me after the practice and he just said, you can do more. You just don't let your frustration get into your head, because I know you love the game, but I will give you the opportunity that you deserve. And like 1 month later, in Brazil, we always dream to play academy teams on these big clubs, and it's not easy because for every month, to be honest, it's like a tryout for you to get opportunity to play. And it's 1,000 kids,
Mm-hmm.
every month to try to make the team. And he gave me the opportunity to play because he was also a coach on their academy, and I made the team. He was not the coach, but he gave the advice to the other coach to look at me closely, and I made the team. And after that, I completely fell in love. It was nothing else besides soccer. My parents lived their lives to follow me, or to see me grow in soccer, because that's what I wanted to do since then.
That's awesome. So you joined the Santos Academy. Kind of walk us through your journey within the game as a player from there.
So it's a little bit long. I try to make as short as possible. 'Cause,
No
yeah.
worries.
So yeah, I played Santos Academy, and when I was around 17, that's when the players start getting opportunities to sign a professional contract in Brazil, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I, I felt like I was not on that stage yet to play professional, become a professional at Santos FC. So I I didn't renew my contract. They didn't renew my contract, and I moved to another big club in Brazil. The name is Coritiba. It's a first division team in Brazil, and over there I signed my first professional contract. Unfortunately, my first year I was 18 years old, and my first year of professional career, the team was playing for the relegation to the second division against Fluminense, and it was a huge crowd at the stadium. In South Brazil, and we were supposed to win the game to stay on the first division, and unfortunately we tied to Fluminense, and we got relegated to the second division.
Oh no.
Yeah, but was I got to play 5 minutes in that game, and for me was a great experience in one side, but a terrible experience in the other side, because we got relegated, and also the fans, because in Brazil fans are very passionate, and they got inside the field and almost they destroy almost everything. So it was kind
Oh
of
wow.
a traumatic experience, but it made me grow, even though I was really young. But I was prepared. My mental part was prepared for that, because I knew what I was going through. But it's not, I one thing that I love in Brazil, and I don't. That's that sometimes the fans don't understand that we are humans. We try our best, for our club, but we are humans. We fail sometimes. So, and after I played Curitiba, I went to play one team in second division Brazil, really lightly. I played there for a couple months. Then I moved a couple other clubs in Brazil's second division, and I was kind of undecided what to do if I was going to choose to do something else because my career was not. You expect to fly right away like that, but it's not how it really happens. And I had some doubts in that time because some clubs that I played was like their structure was not great, and I sometimes I was decided about like quit playing. But you know how God works; it's unbelievable. On the last game of the season, the team that I played, the name is Taubaté in Brazil. The team, one manager, one agent from Europe came to watch this game because we were playing against the team that was winning the championship. And some agents from Europe come all the time to get young players in Brazil. And they saw me. I was playing right back and I scored 2 goals in that game and we won 2-0. And I got the opportunity to go play in Czech Republic. So in Czech Republic, I played 5 years. The team's first division team, FC Vysočina. That's a small club in Czech Republic, but very well organized club. We got opportunity to play once Europa League, so I have
Okay.
great experience that I play Europa League once. Then I moved to Slovakia. I play also. That was a huge club in Slovakia, one of the biggest clubs in Slovakia, Dunajska Streda. I played there for a year, and then I had some problems, health problems, with my groins, with my hamstrings, and my game was not getting the same intensity. And I went back to Brazil, the second division, for one more time. I played there in Brazil. Then I got back on my shape and I came back to play in Croatia. So I played in Croatia, first and second division, and then after that I came to play in United States, which was North Carolina Railhawks in that time. Now it calls North Carolina FC.
Mm-hmm.
Spent 1 year in North Carolina. Then I was about to renew the contract, but I decided not to because I got an offer for a team in Oklahoma City, which is the Rio OKC. It doesn't
Yep.
exist anymore. The Coach Alan Marcina gave me an offer. I kind of was hesitated because I had an offer to go to Thailand to play in Thailand, which is a beautiful place to be. But in the end, I came to United States, but it was too late that they signed all the international players, and I didn't have a spot anymore. After that, I decided to stop playing soccer because I had a lot of injuries, a lot of ups and downs, and then I decided to follow the God's direction and become a coach.
That's awesome. And obviously you kind of did very well in condensing all of that down. There's a lot to digest there. Um, a lot of experience in the professional leagues in different countries, which obviously that's awesome that you got to have those opportunities that very few honestly get a chance to do. And you mentioned playing in the Europa League, which for those that maybe aren't aware or into the nuances of European soccer, there's the Champions League, which is basically they call it the top tier leagues, the top four teams from like the Premier League and I can't remember if it's the top four from the Bundesliga, but the top teams
Bundesliga,
from
yeah.
and then like the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas and so on and so forth, and then the next league down is called the Europa League, which typically like the fifth and sixth and maybe seventh and eighth teams from like the Premier League, etc. But even to have that's something to be said. Like there's some storied names and storied clubs that play in the Europa League. If depending on the year that they're having. Like I think Manchester United this last year played in the Europa League. So to get that as experience as a professional player, that's awesome. and it sounds like that you had quite a bit of success. Ups and downs, but that's part of part of life, and part of being a professional soccer player is doing the hard work, day in and day out, year over year, to earn that spot on the field. So what was the, outside of obviously the game that you scored the 2 goals that kind of got you that opportunity to go to Europe? What's the most memorable game that you ever played in?
I have a couple games that I had a couple really good games that I remember. I think in my opinion, besides this game that I just told you, I think was the game that we qualified to Europa League, that we played against Slavia Prague. That's a big club in Czech Republic. They were the first on the league in that moment, and we had 3 more games to go, and we need to win at least 2 games. And we were playing in Prague. Their stadium was crowded, and I remember very well that the game was 0-0. We're just defending because that's where the style. A smaller team play, bigger club outside. We're outsiders. We gotta try to defend as much as we can, and then get a counter attack and get a goal, and then sit down again and try to defend again. I know as a Brazilian, people look like, really? That's how you see that? No, that's in Europe. You learn how to defend, you learn how to play defensively. So I remember very well that this game, because we won 1-0, and we got, I believe it was the only counter attack that we got, and it was on my side. I beat the player in the outside, and I made a cross. And my friend, my really close friend, he plays plays for Czech national team today. His name is Stanislav Tesel. He's playing at Slavia Prague right now. He scored a goal, and for me it was the brightest moment in my career, because that goal made us qualify to the Europa League. So was for me, that was amazing. And also when we played against Galatasaray, Turkey, and I played against celebrities like Schneider from
Wesley,
Holland national.
Yeah, Wesley Schneider.
Yes, exactly. And Eboué played for Arsenal. All these guys, Felipe Melo from Brazil national team. So all these guys were on the other side, and it was fantastic when I had that experience. So a lot of bright moments, but mainly against Slavia Prague was my best game that I remember.
That's awesome. So, as a player, I'm sure obviously you got to play in a lot of different stadiums, different countries. And you mentioned the passion of the Brazilian fans. What was the most, as a player, what was the most intimidating stadium or crowd that you played in?
I think in terms of fans, I think it was in Slovakia. People will see like, really, Slovakia, you play in Brazil, but Slovakia, on one side of Slovakia, on the board with Hungary, they have majority of the people are from Hungary, and they are like really extremely fanatic with soccer. And that's the team I played was a big rival with this particular team, and we went to play. The name was Slovan Bratislava, and the fans were like fantastic. When they make those really
the tifos,
huge, yes, and everything. It was really like my skin was like feeling, and yeah, it was amazing. I think it was the best atmosphere I played in terms of the fans being very fanatic and desiring to win, and the passion that you felt in that moment was fantastic. So yeah, I think Slovakia was that place that I felt that the most.
Awesome. So I know, and actually, that might be a good segue. My understanding is now how many languages do you speak?
I speak five languages.
Five
I speak,
languages.
yes, Czech, Croatian, Portuguese, a little bit Spanish, and I'm learning English right now. So
No,
yeah, five languages.
you're doing very well. Your English is really good, and it's impressive. One of the things, a little bit about my background. I lived all over the world, but I speak one language. So
It's
I'm
easy for
the
you.
yeah. Well, I should know more. I know little phrases here and there in the different languages, but it's one of the areas that I need to work on. So it's always impressive to meet someone that speaks more than one language, let alone five. So that's awesome. I'll have to end the podcast on asking you how to say a few phrases. But at what point in your playing background did coaching really enter your mind? At what point did you think, oh, I think I might want to coach when I'm done playing?
I think it was when I was in Czech Republic because I had a lot of coaches that you know that I learned from. Like I just on the beginning of the podcast, I told about Clayton Lima, and the other coach was Slovakia coach that coached me in Czech Republic. His name is Karol Marko. He was assistant coach of AS Rome when coach Luciano Spalletti, which is a famous Italian coach, was
Mm-hmm.
coaching AS Roma. I don't remember now, I don't recall where Coach Spalletti is right now, but this coach he always told me how what I learned inside of the field, it's totally different the way coach view, and it's if I wanted to continue on the soccer, for long, I should start learning about it. And he showed me that it's very interesting how coach does and how the passion it transmitted to the players, how you transmit the passion that you have to the players. So I think it was at that moment when he always spoke to me about coaching, how good I could become as a coach. I think that made me think about coaching in the future.
That's awesome. So you mentioned going to making the jump to playing in the United States, in North Carolina, and then I'm trying to remember Coach Marcellus or
Marcin
Marci.
In North Carolina was coaching Clark. He's Irish. Yeah, he
Gotcha.
played for Ireland national team.
But then the coach for the Rio
Alan
OKC,
Marcina.
Alan Marcina.
Yeah.
He was the one that attracted you to Oklahoma, and did you know him previously from some other place or?
Yes. You know how soccer is. You get to know each other by the games and in situations. So we play. He was coaching San Antonio FC when I was in North Carolina, and I played a couple games against them. And after that, I had some friends play for him in San Antonio. And when he moved to Oklahoma, he wanted to build a good team, and he thought I was going to be a good addition for their club. But also, it's one funny thing about coming to Oklahoma that I decided to come to Oklahoma. That's because my brother and my cousin, they both graduated from OBU.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Oklahoma
in that
Baptist
moment,
University.
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So in that moment, my cousin was here, and my brother already graduated. And he was in Chicago. My cousin was assistant coach at OBU for probably 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the experience that he had here in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma area, he told me it was going to be great for me because he said Oklahoma, it's a very friendly place, and if you want to start somewhere, it's the best place to start in the United States. That's what he told me, and he was 100% right what he said. Oklahoma, it's a great place. People are very friendly. People are very loving and welcoming, and I just appreciate that he made me come to Oklahoma.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad that he convinced you. You know, there's something to be said for family connections and family recommending something. You know, in my experience, either absolutely trust a family recommendation or you completely ignore it. One of the two.
Definitely.
Either you don't listen or you do listen. It depends on who it is. But I'm glad that you listened, and I'm glad that you came. Switching, chasing a squirrel, if you will. Where is the best place to get Brazilian food? Is there a place to get Brazilian food in Oklahoma City?
Yes, I believe we have two restaurants right now in Oklahoma City. Which one is at Penn Square Mall? Penn Square Mall. I forgot the name of the place. It's a steak house.
Okay.
So one is in downtown. It's Café de Brazil. The
Yeah.
other one at Penn Square Mall, Texas de Brazil.
Yeah.
Yes. So those two places are the best place here in Oklahoma City now for you to get a Brazilian food.
Okay. So, and maybe this is a stretch, but what's the best Brazilian restaurant within driving distance? Like if I were to drive within say a day, drive not more than a day, what's the best Brazilian food that I could get?
I believe in Dallas area in Texas. Yeah, in
Okay.
Dallas. Yeah, close to between Plano and Frisco.
Okay.
There's a restaurant out there that's all Brazilian owned. Brazilian owned. It's amazing. It's like real. Like it looks. It's like homemade Brazilian food. It's more like traditional. So I don't recall now the name of the place, but if someone is interested, you just text me on Facebook if you don't have my phone, and I can find out where what's the name of the place. But yeah, it's in between Plano and Frisco area.
Okay. Awesome. So that's a side note. Probably the best steak that I've ever had, and this is probably going to be insulting. I apologize. Was actually at an Argentinian steakhouse in Holland. So, ironically enough, but to this day, but I'm still looking. I haven't. I'm trying to think. There's. I may have been. I think I've been to one of the Brazilian restaurants. I think Texas de Brazil. I've actually been not to the one here in Oklahoma City, but I think there's several. I think I've been to one in Dallas, the Dallas area. So definitely very good. But so getting back to your coaching experience, so you came to Oklahoma City. You were looking to play for OKC Rio. It didn't work out. You made the switch to coaching. Talk a little bit about that.
So yeah, when that happened, that I wasn't able to play because I was not. I was an international player, and they
Mm-hmm.
have only I don't remember if it was 9 or 6 spots. Uh, I had other options to go back to Brazil, to go somewhere else to play, but I wanted something like to be somewhere and stay somewhere that for longer, because the only place that I've stayed longer was in Czech Republic. That I stayed for
Mm-hmm.
5 years, and I wanted to that happen. I wanted to stay close to my cousin that was here, and some friends that I met in the time that I was here, and I decided to stay. I met Scott Carter,
Mm-hmm.
which he was one of my friends with my cousin. and he asked me if I wanted to coach. I was just waiting for the opportunity, and he said, "Yes, I can help you start coaching." And he introduced me to Rich Hudson, which was
Mm-hmm.
our director before. And I started with one team. I remember very well because it was those six boys,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a great start for me. I know the result doesn't sound that way because the parents that were gonna watch this, they will remember very well how we started. I remember we lost the first game, I think 16-0, and but after that, I remember that things I started learn how coach. I started understand the kids, and the kids learned a lot from me, and I learned a lot from them. So that's how I started by uh, Scott Carter's help and Rich Hudson, which I'm thankful that they gave me the opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's very much about like was it Clayton, the academy coach or the coach in Brazil, somebody seeing something, recognizing something in you, and giving you that opportunity. But at the end of the day, it's I think it takes a lot of effort and hard work, not just talent, but hard work. And obviously, throughout your playing career and your coaching career, you've been willing to do that hard work, and it shows with the success that you've had. Um, but uh, what's advice that you might give to players, either coming into academy? Actually, we'll start with that, or not academy. Coming into competitive for the first time. What's advice that you might give to a player that this is their first year trying out for a competitive?
My advice, they might think that's completely a different world for them. That they are, some of them are scared because they're gonna see a lot talent players, maybe faster than they are, and a lot of different things. And the way sometimes they treat each other because they are competitive. They sometimes they're used to the recreational, and the recreational sometimes they don't push them as much. So my advice is just for them to not stop working because the work rate that you put, if the coach give you the right advice, you know correct you on the right towards the right direction, you will see improvement, and you're gonna see that you belong to that place. Because you know getting out of your comfort zone, that's the most important thing. You cannot, if you stay in your comfort zone, you're not gonna grow. You're always gonna maintain your level. And I always tell my kids that I have a standard for them, and my standard, if they think, oh, we're never gonna achieve. But if I don't have that standard for them, they're gonna maintain here, and they're never gonna achieve their max. And so I always tell them, they always work hard and listen to the coach's advice, because it's not a monster. They're not going competitive. It's not. They're not going to something that, oh, it's a monster. No, if they work and they listen, they're willing to do their job. They will grow, and they will see they belong there to the area. So, and it's a big advice for the kids that really wants to play soccer. Yeah, going to competitive, it's very important. It's very important, and I advise them because they're gonna love it. They're gonna fall in love with soccer.
That's awesome. So, switching it up just a little bit. So, what advice would you give to the competitive players that are maybe, on the older range, like sophomores, juniors, seniors in high school, where they're at the point of trying to compete to either to break into a professional career, or go on to play in college? What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, this advice, it's very important. I have already with my kids, even they are now around 14 years old. I have some of like really talented players. Uh, as you guys know, my 7 boys, my 6 girls, they are really bunch of talent players. And my advice for them, in for the older kids, take things step by step, achieve one step by step. So they are in high school right now. What their goal? Okay, so if they're not starting, they're on the if they're non-varsity, okay, let's play on JV as much as I can. As soon as I get on varsity, I got the opportunity on varsity. All right, let's show the coach that I deserve to be here by working hard, showing character, being respectful, helping someone maybe outside the field, or if they have a car and someone doesn't have a car, give them a drive. Little things, little details that shows you your character. It's very important because when you go to college stage, you're gonna be living you're gonna be in a different environment. They are very competitive. They are expect you to perform, and sometimes when you don't perform, you're gonna be crucified. You can lose a little bit of a scholarship. Sometimes I know it happens, but mainly education. You gotta focus on your education, and like I said, your character. You cannot change that. That one thing you cannot change. You cannot you if you have character, things that things you can control. Inside of the field, you can control your hard work, but sometimes your performance is not gonna be the best. But your hard work you can control, and how you can help your team. How can you help your teammates in any other way? So my advice for them to uh, always show their character, their perspective, and be patient. Be patient because not always they're gonna reach the things they want like right away, right away. So yeah, mainly that's what my advice for them.
That's awesome. So what is your vision for OEFC West? Where do you see the club in 5 years?
So I see this club being one of the top clubs here in Oklahoma. We already, in my opinion, uh, we don't say we are not the top clubs here right now because of numbers, because the number of the teams that we have. We have a lot bigger clubs than we are in terms of number and maybe in quality right now. But I see the direction that Danny is taking the club and what the instructor there he's giving to the coaches, the education that the coaches need to take. I see the club being really, I'm not gonna say like compared to the other clubs, but I see our club going far and giving, sending more kids like on the age that we said to college more often to good divisions like Division One, Division Two, NIA, good college. So I see the club in 5 years being established and known by college coaches, more known by college coaches, by professional coaches. That is a great academy. That's a great development place, and they will come to see our players closely because that's the direction we're taking, and we're going. And I see in 5 years our club will be established as one of the top clubs in Oklahoma, and we have a different mentality, a different philosophy than any other club we'll have here in Oklahoma. All due respect with other clubs, but I see a different philosophy in terms of direction of Danny takes, and in my beliefs, I agree a lot with Danny. So I believe we're gonna have a different mentality than the other clubs here in Oklahoma.
That's awesome, and you're being very modest in that you're a big part of that, and also I think the game of futsal, although very different than the game of soccer, they're like cousins. They're related, but it's not the same thing. But I think one can certainly help the other and develop those players. Not to say that we're gonna start creating Brazilians in Oklahoma, but the beautiful play, beautiful game, very skillful. and hard work. One of the things that I don't think people realize with futsal, like if you've ever watched futsal, ever played futsal, I personally haven't ever played futsal, but I've watched it, and I've played some other sports, different sports. Futsal is hard work. Futsal even more so. I mean, it's different than playing outdoor, but it's very much hard work. It's very fast paced. It's like that kind of combination of soccer and basketball or hockey, where it's not indoor soccer. I mean, you could say it's similar to indoor soccer, but it's just hard work. It's very high pace. Um, it's different, and you helping to lead that at our club is a big deal, and I think it's a big opportunity for our players, each individual player, to grow and develop within the game, and get better at outdoor soccer. So, really quickly, what teams will you be coaching next season?
Next season, I'll be coaching '07 boys first and second team,
Mm-hmm.
'06 girls first team, and of course, your son's team, the '05 boys.
Yep. So that's one of the things that Danny, part of the philosophy that Danny's been promoting is that, and actually you could even speak into this with your professional experience and even your experience at Santos. The fact that as a player, you part of getting better and part of adapting your game and being a professional is having to deal with different coaches. So often at kind of a club level, or maybe it's just the American way. Uh, we can be very, call it, self-centered or selfish about it. That what's in it for me? But part of being a professional is serving the club, right? And going into and making a different team, or going to a different team where you have different teammates and different coaches. And that's one of the things that, like I said, that from a philosophy, we want to try to give players that experience as part of the club, so that every 2 or 3 years they'll be exposed to a different coach. How did that impact you as a player? What was the big positive of that experience, and what's the negative of that experience?
So let's say first the positive. I'll start with the positive. I think every single coach, you learn something different. I had coaches like my first coach. He was very offensive coach. They always teach me how I support the offense side, how I be an option, how be proactive, and that had made me, because that's a kind of a little of Brazilian style, how
Mm-hmm.
we Brazilian wants to play, and then you go and move to Europe. When I just said about the coach that I had, that he was more defensive structure, Italian style, playing in Czech Republic, a smaller club that's trying to qualify to Europe League, and I learned how to defend. So in Brazil, the tactic side of the game was not very important as it was for me in Europe, and I learned from a different coach. And I see here in the club, I see a lot of different, not different style of coaches, but some coaches are more in academy side, but they're more instructor to skill, to that make the decision making, that part. And then you move to a different coach that they are more tactical, direct. They think more about the game and how it function as a team. So I think changing coaches, it's very important to hear their point of view, because every coach has he can say something that means the same, but his words are completely different than mine. So you start hearing from a different person, it's very important, because they're gonna have the experience in their future. They're gonna play college. They're gonna start playing college with one coach, and the coach, something happened. He might get fired, or you get an opportunity to go to other college, and what's gonna happen? Oh, you think just this is this the way to play? If you didn't learn the other way to play, that coach might not want you or not like you, and you're not gonna be in use for him. So for me, it's very important that you learn with different coaches in different voices, because soccer is not. I cannot know everything. I don't know everything, and the merge to learn in soccer is so huge that it's very important. They get the experience from a different coaches, especially here that we have a Scotland, a Brazilian, we have an English coach. We have the background, the variety that they can learn. Thomas from Kenya. So I just think it's a great idea. It's a great thing that they can learn from different coaches and a different point of view. And to emphasize on that, uh, Thomas Thomas is for me as a soccer player because my brother played with him in college. One of the amazing players in the history of college soccer here in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
People doesn't know about Thomas. It's you gotta be kidding me. He's
Yep.
I play with him. He's 40 something years old and he just so calm, so relaxed. So me and Thomas, we have like a lot things in similar. He's but he's very focused a lot on the technical part. I am too, but I think I rely a little more on the tactical side of the kids too. So I think uh, the experience just saying about the five boys it would be great because I know these kids know what they don't have to be worried or afraid because I know what they are coming from. Well, I know what they're coming from and what I can do you know, to help continue helping them because Thomas did this to them and I just want to try to continue his job. And also, when these kids move to one team, to one coach to the other coach, it doesn't mean that they are not that their coach they don't care about you anymore. You always can contact their coaches. I always remind my players, oh, if your coach was Peterson or Gleason or Thomas, if you want something, if you're not comfortable yet to talk to me, because we just start getting along by the time that I coach, uh, call the coaches, call their old coaches, talk to them what they feel because they're gonna contact me, and I understand that we don't have that chemistry yet. We don't know each other very well, and as soon as you start getting along, then you feel more comfortable to talk to the new coaches. So it's not one thing that the coach is leaving you and that's forever and bye and not gonna see you ever again. We are one club. We are one coaching staff that we work together for the best for these kids. So I think it's great. I think it's great what we're doing.
That's awesome. And I loved how you were had the arm up kind of at a diagonal, the onward and upward. That's one of the mottos that I have personally through a job that I used to have is onward and upward. So I mentioned learning how to say a phrase in some of the other languages. How would you say in Brazilian or Portuguese? I guess Portuguese or Brazilian Portuguese is a little bit different than just Portuguese, but how would you say onward and upward?
Palavra acima e abaixo.
I'm gonna have to practice that some. One more time, onward and upward, and
Palavra acima e palavra abaixo.
okay. I'm gonna watch this recording like 3 or 4 times, and I'm gonna work on it. And so next time I see you, I'll try to have that down. I'm not gonna try to do it right now. I wouldn't do it justice. I don't know. How about another language? Any other languages you wanna try to translate onward and upward into?
Yeah, I can check.
Okay.
Nahoru and Dolu.
Nauru and Dulu.
Dolu.
Dolu. Okay. I'll
Yes.
I'll try to practice that one too. So onward and upward. Thank you, Gabby, for all that you do for the club and the wonderful person and coach that you are. Really enjoyed talking with you this Memorial Weekend Sunday, and look forward to seeing you at tryouts well, hopefully at tryouts. That just reminded me. I'd be remiss in mentioning that Gabby's expecting his first child with his wife. Now, what do you know the sex of the baby yet, or is it going to be a surprise? Or
Yes, it's going to be a girl.
okay,
Yeah, uh, her name's gonna be Vivian,
Vivian,
and
awesome.
we're so excited. That's like you said, my first child, and we're very blessed to have her, raising her, going to be raising her here around family, which you guys are part of that. I
That's awesome.
appreciate you guys.
That's awesome. Well, extremely happy for you, and congratulations, and look forward to meeting Vivian in person when she joins us. And again, just thank you for all that you do, and yeah. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and looking forward to the next episode of the person behind the coach. We have another guest lined up in our international lineup at OEFC West. So again, thank you, Gabby, and looking forward to talking again soon.
Thank you guys. Hope to see you guys at tryouts.
Absolutely, yes. Tryouts June 6th with camps on the 4th and 5th. I would absolutely be remiss in not mentioning that. Thanks again, everyone. Talk to you later.